Victoria, back to you with another review. This time reviewing the show XO Kitty on Netflix. Now, this is a spin-off on Kitty from To All the Boys I Loved Before and To All the Boys I Loved, which was the first one. Pretty much this has somewhat correlation with those movies, but not really any correlation because of the fact that if you never watched those movies and you watch this, you wouldn't feel like you're missing something. Okay, this is like a completely different show. We don't really see nobody from all three movies except for her dad and stepmom. So you're good. Now, if you seen me before, if you are subscribed, you know I am always late to the game. Whenever it comes out, I never watch anything whenever it comes out. Okay, everybody talks about it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, cool, maybe I'll get to it one day. Well, I got to that one day, okay? And if you're new here, unfortunately, your girl always late to the game, okay? It was Memorial Day last Monday. I was like, okay, since I'm cooking, let me see what I can watch on Netflix. I seen XO Kitty because it was like one of the suggested shows and stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me watch it. And surprisingly, it wasn't bad. It was an easy watch. Okay, it's very predictable. Let's start off the back with that. It's very predictable. You know how Netflix original shows do, especially with like teen rom-com type of shows. Okay, but for what it is, for me, it wasn't that bad of a watch. So obviously, I'm not going to go episode per episode. It was about a week ago. So I'm just going to go on the basis summary of what I can remember of each character. So starting off with Kitty, she's cool. She's nice. For the most part, she's always looking for the best out of everyone. Now, when they came to the point of her crush on Yuri, I was kind of very confused because for me, it felt like it came out of left field. But, if she has a crush on Yuri, that's fine. I don't see how when, Yuri kind of stole your man just because she was trying to hide from her mama that, she liked Juliana. Okay, obviously, this is all spoilers, by the way. This, I should have probably said that in the first 2 seconds, but this is a spoiler review of each of this season and what I thought of each of the characters. So obviously, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably should watch the season. And if not, then, just watch me talk about these people on this show. So continuing on with Kitty, did she find herself like she said at the end of the season? I don't really think so. To be honest, she says she did, but I'm like, not really, because you're still kind of figuring out life. I think everyone, no matter how old you get, you're still figuring yourself out because you're always going into a new chapter of your life, no matter what age or era that you're like. For the most part, you can get to know yourself, but I don't know. I just really don't personally feel like you truly found yourself, especially in high school. But, to her, she did by the end of the season. Did she get any really character development? Not really. I mean, maybe a little bit because, she is a meddler. She's been doing that since To All the Boys I've Loved series of the movies. But I guess she kind of knew, like, okay, he doesn't want me to say nothing to Yuri. Speaking of Alex. So I'm not going to say it, but at the same time, she's still trying to figure things out, and I'm pretty sure she's still going to meddle in people's lives, no matter what, because she considers herself the perfect match or love guru, so to speak. That's fine. But other than that, Kitty, she's cool with me. I liked her. Still like her by the end of the season, and we're going to see what she's going to do with Homeboy Mino, which we'll get to probably at the end of going through all these people in this show. Next, we got Day. Now, I don't really want to say much of that about Day because there's nothing much to say. I mean, he was cool. I didn't care for him, to be honest, because I feel like he had no backbone. He just let Yuri run all over him. I mean, I understand the reason why he did it for monetary purposes because, his family don't have riches and stuff, and I know he's on a scholarship. Speaking of the scholarships, I didn't get none of the scholarships about the school because their statistics or requirements in order to keep the scholarship sounded ridiculous. Like the stipulations for Kitty, she ended up getting expelled because she was in the boys' dorm room, and I guess that was a stipulation in her scholarship. Really, y'all was very specific like that in your scholarship, saying, oh, you can't be living in the boys' dorm room or else you're not going to get the scholarship and you're going to be expelled? I mean, South Korea, listen, a lot of different countries got crazy rules. So I know to Americans is not going to seem, it seems absurd. So it doesn't seem absurd to them. But to me, I'm just kind of like, I don't feel like this is a real stipulation of a scholarship that would be for South Korea, but what do I know? Okay, I never been there, probably never will go there, but that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. That's fine. And yeah, like speaking of Day, see, I did nothing much to say. I felt like he didn't have no backbone. I did like the moments he had with his family, especially his little sister, and he was able to help her out with getting a pair of shoes. So that's cool. And when him and Kitty broke up at the end of the season, I was kind of like, it's probably for the best because in the beginning, you kind of just went with whatever Yuri said. And once again, I understand you did it for monetary purposes for your family. But at the same time, like Nino said in one of those scenes, why would you lie? Like, you lied a lot. And, you shouldn't do that to your friend or someone you care about. So we see where his loyalty lies. Obviously, he's with his family. Once again, I'm stressing understandable. But at the same time, for Kitty, and for the friends, it's kind of like, I mean, if that's how it is, that's how it is. But then, listen, to me, I didn't see the chemistry. I just feel like that's who Kitty saw. She thought he was cute, so that's why they talked and, stayed loyal to each other all these years. But at the same time, it's like, what's really the chemistry? Because when you strip the fact that, him and Yuri broke up and now they're able to be together, it's just like, because of that betrayal that we started off of when seeing each other for the first time, and now it's like we're together face to face, it's like that's when you really get to know the person. And I don't feel like there was not much to know. There's like the chemistry just wasn't there, I personally feel like. Okay, not gonna talk about Day no more. Like I said, I'm trying to think of things to say about Day, so we're just gonna move on. Next we get to Q. Now Q, he was probably my second favorite in the season because he was just so chill. Like, he's not with the drama. When Kitty kept trying to talk about Alex and, Day and Yuri, Q was pretty much just like, listen, I got my own things to worry about. I got school. I'm here for school, get my grades, get my degree. So I'm not really trying to focus. Like, that's all we talk about, then that's not what I'm trying to talk about. So he seemed pretty cool. Now with his situation with Florian, listen, he was the most unproblematic person on this whole season, on this whole show thus far. So it's a good thing I don't have much to say about Q. He's just cool, calm, collective. He's probably the only person or the number one person I would chill with if I was a part of this show. Like, if this show was for real, Q is the person I'll hang out with because, like, he's unproblematic. He just really focuses on himself. He tries to help out where he can if you ask for his help. But other than that, he's just going to be hanging out with Florian. I mean, if they still together, because, Florian be taking people's number one spots. In which case, he took Day's number one spot by the end of the season because he cheated. He cheated and got the answers, and, Q was mad at him, and I'm just like, Florian, I mean, I guess, but you gonna cheat next year too? Because y'all still gonna be together, so you're gonna just cheat your way to a degree. Okay, but listen, if Florian want to cheat, let Florian cheat, okay? Because I feel like it's gonna bite him in the butt eventually. So just let him do it. Just let him do it. Now, speaking of Florian, we'll get to Florian now, I guess. I guess he's Greece and French, so that's cool. I mean, him and Q are a cute couple for what it was, but he seems like he could be a low-key of a bad influence, I personally feel like, because, he cheating, he's the one that got the parties shut down, kind of, sort of, because, he was drinking. He's the one who provided the drinks for them to get drunk, and you can't be getting drunk underage in South Korea, per the show. So I feel like he's a low-key bad influence. But, Q, I really feel like it's not going to be a long-term type of thing. It's probably going to be just like a maybe 1-2 year type of thing with them two. I don't see it lasting long. Then it needs longer than a couple years. So nothing else to say about Florian. Yuri, now I be trying to feel bad for her sometimes, but then other times I'm like, you really be trying to be a mean girl, and it's like, I can't really be feeling bad for you when you be doing this stuff on purpose. Now, granted, I know your daddy sucks. Your mama sucks for the most part. I mean, she's kind of getting better by the end of the season. But that don't mean you gotta suck too. That don't mean you gotta be mean and to people. And I get the reason why you did it, because, she is a lesbian and she does have a girlfriend named Juliana, which her mom got sent away when she found out about them too. So I understand why you try to fake to be in a relationship with Day, and then you was paying him to be your boyfriend, so to speak. But at the same time, you had to really be a bitch to Kitty, to the point where you stole the necklace when it was delivered to Day's house, and then to the fact that at detention, when you guys got put in detention because of the whole little party that y'all started drinking in, the fact that you was wearing it on your neck, I'm like, see, this is why I can't feel bad for you. Now, in the good moments, yeah, she was cool, but in the bad moments, I'm like, see, Yuri, I be trying, but you be doing stuff like this. So for her, by the end of the season, I feel like since Kitty had a crush on her and she did, I guess, tell Yuri about her feelings, Yuri kind of didn't know how to react. But I think Yuri did really look at Kitty as a good friend by the end of the season. So when she was talking to Juliana about it, you can tell Juliana was annoyed because it's like all she keeps talking about is Kitty. So if there is a season 2 for this, I feel like it's going to be a little riffraff between Juliana and Kitty, because of the fact that Yuri probably just sees her as a best friend. Not probably, to me, I don't really feel like she sees her as like, oh, I like you type of thing, to date you, but kind of like, I think we're best friends. So of course she has a best friend, Kitty, and her girlfriend Juliana. So I feel like that's going to cause riffraff, but I don't know. We'll see if there's even a season 2. If there is, I'll watch it. If there's not, I'm not going to be begging for it. Okay. But I think that's it. Any character development with Yuri? I don't really think so. I mean, she stood up for herself for her mom, which was a great scene in the season, but not really, to be honest. Speaking of her girlfriend Juliana, she was barely in the show, but she just seems like she's cool, but seems like probably a very jealous person, because all homegirl talk about is Kitty, and it looks like it's gonna be a problem, especially when she was like, "Oh, I'm not here to see Kitty. I'm here to see you," by the end of the season. So then we get to Alex, which is Yuri's older brother, half brother, because homegirl not Gina, which is Yuri's mom, and Professor Lee done had a baby when they was in high school. Now, Professor Lee didn't find out about this until like literally the end of the season. But Alex, as far as Alex, I thought he was cool. He seems like the voice of reason and kind of like the middleman between the young folks and the old folks. And so I kind of liked him. I feel like he'll be my third favorite character. Was there any really character development with him? Not really. I just feel like he kind of came to South Korea just to find out who his birth parents were, more so his dad, because he didn't know who his mom was. Probably because he thought she passed away, maybe. I don't know. But there's nothing really much to take with Alex. I just hope the best for him. I feel like he's the most deserving of this whole season cast that's deserving of just happiness. That's it. That's it. Professor Lee, does he deserve happiness? I don't know, because, he got on my nerves. I can imagine as a student, like you see Kitty trying to pretty much kiss ass to Professor Lee. He ain't having it, failing her left and right. I feel like he enjoys failing people. He just seems miserable. But, I would have wanted more of a reason why, probably get his backstory a little bit. I know this ain't got nothing to do with Professor Lee, but coming to find out that he's the father of Alex, because, I feel like he's always been in love with Gina, and she probably done left him to be with whoever her husband is. I don't have his name because nobody cares about homeboy. I feel like he's probably miserable. So I hope, if there is a season 2, not that I'm hoping for a season 2, but if there is a season 2, I would hope they probably would go more into his being of a piss poor, miserable man. And hopefully, now that he knows he's a father, hopefully he can get that connection or with Alex. So we'll have to see how that works out. Now, when we get to Gina, I can't stand Gina. Okay, from episode 1 to episode 10, I don't care for her whatsoever. I don't know why she's walking around with a stick stuck up her ass, but to me, I'm like, all this stuff you're doing is not necessary. Now, once again, I understand that, the rules for South Korea and the schools is strict, but at the same time, it's like, your daughter was staying I don't know if she knew where her daughter was staying at, but your daughter was staying in the boys' dorm. So you're not going to expel your daughter. So why would you expel her kind of sort of best friend? Now, when in the beginning, when Kitty introduced herself to Gina and was showing her a picture of their moms together, and she was acting like, oh, she didn't know who her mom was. In my head, I was like, oh, maybe I was dating. Maybe that's the reason why you don't want your daughter Yuri with Juliana, because maybe something happened with her and Kitty's mom that caused a riffraff, so she don't want the same thing to happen with Yuri and Juliana. That's what I was thinking. That was where my mind was going, but come to find out, no. Homegirl Gina, keep saying Nina, I don't know why. Gina, she was the one that was pregnant with Alex, because pretty much the baby bracelet said Eve Song, which is Kitty's mom, but it looks like Kitty's mom, Eve, I don't know, allowed Gina to use her name at the hospital, so it wouldn't come back that Gina has a kid, because all she thought about was her future, and she didn't want to get Professor Lee tied up with that, because he had a future and he wanted to do things with his life. So that's why she ended up giving the baby Alex up for adoption. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of underlying things going on that she's been through that she doesn't want people to know, but at the same time, it's like, that's your past. I mean, your past makes your future. So maybe we could go delve more deeply, more into that season 2, if there is a season 2. But for me, I don't care for her, and it don't help that I don't really care for her daughter. And I dang sure don't care for her husband. I don't even know his name. I just know he's the president of like his hotel line. Like they're trying to make them as if they're the Hiltons for the U.S. That's what I gathered. That's what I got from it. So nobody cares for Gina. Now, the last person I want to talk about, which I feel like is the most important person other than Kitty in the season, is Mino. Now, me personally, I honestly feel Mino had the most character development. He started off mean and being a jerk because the way him and Kitty met was at the airport. He purposely, I don't know if he did it on accident or purpose, but I'm just going to go with purposely because, he just seemed like that type of person. Purposely, hid Kitty with his bag at the airport and, pretending like he didn't speak English. But then when she met him at the welcome party, he found out he did speak English. And over time, he's just a mean person, so he always has jokes to say. But it just seemed kind of like one of those things where it's like, he's a guarded person, so he's not going to let nobody in all willy-nilly. But over time, as he got to know Kitty, and I guess as Kitty got to know him, talking and stuff, they ended up becoming friends and having a friendship. But that friendship on Mino's end turned into a crush. He be having some sexual dreams about her. She had sexual dreams about Yuri, but he had sexual dreams about her. And, he kept up the facade in front of everyone that he didn't really care for her. He's going to keep treating her like she ain't nothing to him. But then when we see moments where it's behind closed doors or when he's alone, then you see like, okay, he really does care for her. Especially in the scene, I'm like, okay, y'all doing the most with this scene. In the scene where they was doing a dance, and I guess what's her name? Kitty's dress ended up catching on fire. You see the slow-mo of Mino getting up and just like running to her to get the fire out because he has feelings for her. And honestly, I am here for it. Honestly, I am here for it because of the simple fact, listen, they can't be the man you need, Kitty. They can't do it, but Mino can. Okay, now usually I know I don't really be rooting for the character that be mean on purpose and be liking to be a class clown, so to speak, because or self-centered. But for me, I feel like it worked with Mino's character, and I say character development because all he was worried about was, in his head, all the girls loved him, and I think it was the fact that Kitty was not really gawking over him that made him kind of like her as well, because for him, it's probably like the chase, cat and mouse scenario. So I think that's the first thing that made him look at her differently, was the fact that she wasn't like, oh yeah, you're so hot. And then on the second part was because he was just with, girls probably for the social status, so to speak, because, he's his mom and dad, I believe, they're both into the acting industry. So superstars. So when he was with Madison, nothing else to say about Madison. She just was there to have for a good time. That's it. But when he was with Madison, I guess he thought it was turning into a relationship. When she was like, "Oh no, I thought we were just having fun. I thought that's what you were known for," and he was getting in his feelings because he thought it was something more. So now he realized he wanted to be in a relationship, and I think he only realized that because that he started having feelings for Kitty, not necessarily because Kitty made him realize he's ready for a relationship. It's just because he likes Kitty and he wants to be in a relationship with Kitty. So he was going to try to be in a relationship with Madison, but in turn, it's like it wouldn't have worked out regardless if Madison was for it or not, because she ain't Kitty. I know I talked too much. I didn't think this was going to be 20 minutes, but all in all, this season was good. If I had to give it a rating out of 1 to 5, I would say it was a 4. If I had to give it a rating of 1 to 10, I would say 8.5. I thought it was a good show. It's a quick show. Like I said, it's 30 minutes for 10 episodes. So within 5 hours, you'll be done with the show. And if there's a season, blah, blah, blah. I can never talk. If there's a season 2, I definitely would watch. But if there's not, then I don't care if there's not another season. That's fine. There's so many things to watch on Netflix at this point. I can't keep up. There's so many things. I'm so behind. It'll just come into fruition if it ever comes into fruition. That's it. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you laughed at least once, please subscribe. If you didn't laugh, please watch any of my other shows, videos, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure you're going to laugh at something. And then subscribe. And then if you have any comments of what you thought about this season, please let me know. I know I kind of went through just the characters, but let me know anything I missed. Other than that, be easy breezy, lemon squeezy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.